Hang on. And then we're gonna get our outfit picked out for work. So follow me. And we're gonna do should have enough time for just under 40 minutes. Yeah, about 37 minutes. So let's just call it 40. Love it. Then Pino is right over here, perched. And I just did prepared a YouTube short to go out for another manifestation short. All right, let's do this. Did some Pilates last night as a workout. Oh, there we go. Try and get a good angle for you guys here. Hang on. If that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. There we go. Boom. Let's study. Just looking at my analytics here real quick. Nice. Okay. So let's subscribe if you're new here. Doing a little study with me. Hey, what's going on? RE Electrical Services. Aerial Electrical Services. Welcome, welcome. How you doing? All right. Hang on. Putting on some binaural beats. There. Got it. Bingo. Just logging in here. Give you guys a better angle. Yo, what's going on? Good morning. Good morning. Sonia Gallup. Welcome, welcome. Hold on. Hold on. Right here. Better angle. There we go. There we go. All right. If you're wondering what that humming is in the background, it's a little binaural beats. It helps me zone in. It's just like just enough sound. I can't stay, but good luck setting. Appreciate it, Emmy. Appreciate it. Hit subscribe if you're new. If you haven't already subscribed, we're gonna be going live daily for workouts, meals. So like lunch with me. We're gonna go live for lunch with me soon here at probably 12:30 p.m. Pacific, and workouts, study with me, meditate with me. Hang on, this is all loading up. Yo, what's going on, Nate? Welcome, welcome. Okay, where did we get to here? It was really hot yesterday. 18-3. We're in the last chapter of the course for our reading. And then and then I can start actually studying. Whereabouts are we here? Hang on. So there's only 14 pages in this chapter, which is great. So 18-3 to 18-14. Okay, here we go. Applying ethical standards to what you have learned. Introduction. The role of the mutual fund sales representatives to make sure the clients buy only suitable investments given their personal and financial circumstances, investment needs and objectives, investment knowledge, risk profile, and investment time horizon. There must be a good fit between the investments chosen by the client and the characteristics of the client. In order to make sure that the fit is good, the mutual fund sales representative must know the client and the products. The better you know both the client and the products, the better are the chances for a good fit. Tied into this approach is the important role ethics play in the process of making decisions for clients. When dealing with the public, you have a duty to act ethically, most importantly, by placing the needs and interests of the client above all else. Behaving ethically is the cornerstone of maintaining and enhancing the integrity of the industry. What are ethics and the standard of conduct? A critical element in building a solid, trusting relationship with a client is behaving in an ethical manner. Ethics can be defined as a set of moral values that guide behavior. Moral values are enduring beliefs that reflect standards of what is right and what is wrong. Ethical decision making. Ethical decision making is based on the principles of trust, integrity, justice, fairness, honesty, responsibility, and reliability. The securities industry cannot exist without the trust and confidence of the public. Registrants in the securities industry play an important role and must regularly generate trust and confidence in their clients by adhering to high standards of ethical conduct in all of their dealings. Ethics is defined as generally as a set of values and standards that guide individual behavior. A person's values can change over time, but the change is always driven by standards of right and wrong, rather than by personal need. I'm back after a while. Yeah, no worries. Appreciate it. Holden Tudix. What is this? Physiognomy? Holden? Get out of here. If you're gonna have hate, get the hell out of the chat and get the hell out of the live. There we go. Hey, Michael, how's it going? Welcome back. All right. And again, if you're new here, hit that like button on the screen, hit the subscribe button. We go live daily for lunch with me, study with me, work out with me, etc., etc. We're going to be studying until about 8:30 or just before 8:30. So a little bit of reading, not a ton of reading because I had to do a post earlier before this. Commonly agreed on ethical values include accountability, fairness, honesty, loyalty, reliability, and trustworthiness. As a concept, ethics can be defined more specifically in the following three ways: the rule or standards governing the behavior of a particular group or profession, a set of moral principles or values, the study of the general nature of morals, and the moral choices made by individuals. There is a key difference between ethical behavior and mere compliance with rules. Excuse me. Following rules does not involve judgment, and compliance conformity with externally established standards. Some rules simply codify consensus practices, such as the rule stating that stock trades settle one business day after the trade date. Other rules approximate ethics by incorporating ethical behavior, such as the law against stealing. Rules are designed to deal with the most significant or most common situations. They cannot encompass every possible situation that may occur in day to day business. People follow rules because they must, not necessarily because they believe it is morally correct. Ethical behavior, in contrast, requires judgment based on internally established moral values. Ethical decision making is a system that can be applied to any situation, even one where no rule exists to govern behavior. Such a system might involve the following steps. Number one, recognize that a moral dilemma exists. Number two, assess your options in terms of moral criteria. Number three, make a commitment to a morally appropriate strategy. Number four, have the courage to carry out the strategy. I have to go now? Yeah, no worries. I'm asleep at most of the streams. Oh, yeah, yeah, because I'm on a different timeline. 100%. I totally get you. Hey, Anise. Anise Silas, welcome. Welcome live. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. The standard of conduct and ethical guidelines. As the National Self-Regulatory Organization, SRO, that oversees mutual fund distribution, CIRO regulates the actions and behavior of registered individuals, along with strict compliance with its rules and regulations. CIRO requires that registered individuals observe high standards of ethics and conduct when transacting their business. This integration of ethics into industry rules essentially applies to all of the registered individuals' actions and everyday behavior with clients. Did you know? According to CIRO's mutual fund dealer rules, Rule 2.1.1, Standard of Conduct, states each member and each approved person of a member shall deal fairly, honestly, and in good faith with its clients, observe high standards of ethics and conduct in the transaction of a business, not engage in any business conduct or practice which is unbecoming or detrimental to the public interest, and be of such character and business repute and have such experience and training as is consistent with the standards described in this rule 2.1.1, or as may be prescribed by the corporation. The securities industry has no formal code of ethics. However, the industry rules and regulations imply a set of ethical standards. For the purpose of this course, we have distilled these rules and standards into the following 5 primary values: duty of care, integrity, professionalism, compliance, and confidentiality. So, under duty of care, know your client, due diligence, unsolicited orders. Integrity, act in an honest, fair, and trustworthy manner. Priority of client's interest, respect for client's assets. Complete and accurate information relayed to the client, disclosure. Professionalism, client business, client orders, trades by registered and approved individuals. Personal business, personal financial dealings with clients, other personal endeavors. Primary value. What is that? Oh, I see. Yeah. Compliance with the Securities Acts and SRO, self-regulatory organization rules. And confidentiality, client information, use of confidential information. Duty of care. While duty of care encompasses a wide number of obligations towards parties, the obligation to know the client is of paramount importance in order to ensure the priority of client's interest. Including this, the 3 major components of duty of care are: know your client. The know your client rule is paramount for the industry. As you have learned throughout this course, you must learn the essential financial and personal circumstances and the investment objectives of each client. You must also know the client's level of investment knowledge, their risk profile, and an understanding of their investment time horizons. Client account documentation should reflect all material information about the client's current status and should be updated to reflect any material changes to the client's status in order to assure suitability of investment recommendations. Due diligence. You must make all recommendations based on a careful analysis of both information about the client and information related to the particular transaction. You must know your products, including how they are constructed, their features, costs, and a general idea of how they are likely to perform in various market conditions. Unsolicited orders. When you give advice to clients, you must provide appropriate cautionary advice with respect to unsolicited orders that appear unsuitable based on client information. You must be aware of the investment objectives and strategies behind each order and order accepted and on behalf of your clients, whether it is solicited or not. You should take appropriate safeguarding measures when clients insist on proceeding with unsolicited, unsuitable orders. You must make a concerted effort to know the client, to understand the financial and personal circumstances and aspirations of the client. You will make recommendations for the client to invest funds in mutual funds that reflect, to the best of your knowledge, these considerations. Having provided sound advice, you will be above reproach for potentially unsuitable purchases and sales of securities for a client if the client does not heed your advice. Integrity. You must display absolute integrity since the client's interest must be the foremost consideration in all business dealings. This requires that you observe the following: honest, fair, and trustworthy. You must act in an honest, fair, and trustworthy manner in all dealings with clients, employers, colleagues, and the public. You must avoid entering into situations where your interests conflict with those of your clients. Priority of clients' interests. The client's interest must be the foremost. The client's interest must be the foremost consideration in all business dealings. In situations where you may have an interest that competes with that of the client's interest must be given priority. Respect for client's assets. The client's assets are the property solely of the client and are to be used only for the client's purposes. You cannot utilize client funds or securities in any way. Welcome live. Thanks for tuning in. Hit subscribe if you're new here. We're literally on the last chapter of our mutual funds course. It's 438 pages. And there's I think there's 20 pages of glossary terms, right, to help study. And then I'll be booking my exam very soon. So stay tuned. Last of our chapter reading, and then we get into the actual studying, the flashcards, repetition, some mnemonics. Like mnemonics is making your own acronyms to help, remember and memorize key terms, concepts, and etc. Yeah. Complete and accurate information relayed to the client. You must take reasonable steps to ensure that all information given to the client regarding his or her existing portfolio is complete and accurate. While the onus is on your dealer to provide each client with written confirmations of all purchases and sales, you must accurately represent the details of each client's investments to the client. You must be familiar with the client's investment holdings and must not misrepresent the facts to the client in order to create a more favorable view of the portfolio. Disclosure. You must disclose all real and potential conflicts of interest in order to ensure fair, objective dealings with clients. As a mutual fund sales representative, clients need to know that you are working to promote their best interests. When clients trust you, they do not personally have to verify everything that you tell them. For example, they do not have to check the tax and estate implications of every investment recommendation or ask for details about its risk or volatility. They certainly do not waste time wondering if you have made a recommendation that serves your interest rather than the client's own interest. There are two parts to a trust relationship: trust in your competence and integrity. Both are essential. Competence without integrity leaves clients at the mercy of a self serving professional. Integrity without competence puts clients in the hands of a well-meaning but inept professional. In order to ensure that advisors are competent, they must meet proficiency requirements for the registration category. Gaining a client's trust. When Ottawa Mutual Fund sales representative Joanne Carter assumed the account of a 65-year-old Ina Bayer, she knew she had a challenge on her hands. Mrs. Bayer, a widow, held more than $350,000 in a non-registered mutual fund account, and the entire amount was invested in a combination of money market and mortgage mutual funds. After the meeting, it was evident that her new client's investment knowledge was very limited, and she relied almost entirely on her son for financial advice. Therein lay the problem. Her son, a systems services professional employed by a high-tech firm, had been generating great returns for his own portfolio by investing in various Canadian and U.S. tech stocks. When Mrs. Bayer passed over a sheet of paper listing some of her son's recommendations, Carter immediately shook her head. The proposed list of holdings included an excessive amount in equity mutual funds, especially aggressive high growth situations, and not nearly enough in dividend paying blue chip fixed income funds. Convinced that the son's proposed strategy was overly aggressive for someone with Mrs. Bayer's client profile, Carter recommended to her a much more conservative approach. Mrs. Bayer balked at the suggestion for change, siding with her son over someone who she was meeting only for the first time. The easy way out for Carter would have been to go along with what the son suggested and Mrs. Bayer wanted. Carter could easily have rationalized the choices, since one of Mrs. Bayer's objectives was to pass on an inheritance to her son. By questioning the son's judgment, Carter risked losing an attractive client. But in good conscience, Carter could not go along with Mrs. Bayer's request without making further inquiries to determine what in fact was in Mrs. Bayer's best interests. Carter asked her to set up a meeting with her son so that three of them could discuss her situation together. Nice, we're on 18-7, halfway through this chapter already. Last chapter of the text. Gaining a client's trust. A few weeks later, the agreed on meeting started poorly. Mrs. Bear's son, Roy, seemed skeptical of Carter's abilities and was a little suspicious about her intentions. Undeterred, Carter patiently explained her responsibility as a mutual fund sales representative, her concerns about his mother's account, and the reasons for her recommendations. After the first meeting, Roy said he was not yet convinced, but would think about it. His mother concurred. It took some time, but after a couple more meetings, her son was impressed with my recommendations, says Carter. In the end, we had totally revamped the asset mix to ensure prudent allocation of his mother's investments. With Mrs. Bear more comfortable knowing her son was involved, Carter also felt more assured that she would be able to get better results for her client. We now meet regularly, and the trust has developed between the three of us very strong. Professionalism. It is generally accepted that professionals having specialized knowledge need to protect their clients, who usually do not have the same degree of specialized knowledge, and must continually strive to put the interests of their clients ahead of their own. You must also make a continuous effort to maintain a high standard of professional knowledge. Client business. All methods of soliciting and conducting business must be such as to merit public respect and confidence. Client orders. Every client must be entered only at the client's direction unless the account has been properly constituted as discretionary or managed account pursuant to the applicable regulatory requirements. Trades by registered and approved individuals. All trades and all acts and furtherance of trades, whether with existing or potential clients, must be effected only by individuals who are registered and approved in accordance with applicable legislation and the rules of the SRO. Personal business. All personal business affairs must be conducted in a professional and responsible manner, so as to reflect credit on the individual registering, the securities firm, and the profession. Personal financial dealings with clients. You should avoid personal financial dealings with clients, including the lending of money to or the borrowing of money from, paying clients' losses out of personal funds, and sharing a financial interest in an account with a client. Any personal, financial, or business dealings with any clients must be conducted in such a way as to avoid any real or apparent conflict of interest and be disclosed to the firm in order that the firm may monitor their situation. Other personal endeavors. You must take care to ensure that any other publicly visible activity in which you participate, such as politics, social organizations, or public speaking, is conducted responsibly and moderately so as to not present an unfavorable public image. Compliance. 18-8. We got about just under 15 more minutes, Mindset fam, and then we're going to call it. Not bad. Almost, yeah. So half-hour study sesh. Love it. We're just under 40 minutes. You must ensure that your conduct is in accordance with the applicable SRO rules and regulations. Compliance with the Securities Acts and SRO rules. You must ensure that your conduct is in accordance with the securities administrators of the province or provinces in which your registration is held. The requirements of the SRO of which your dealer is a member must be observed. You cannot knowingly participate in nor assist in any act in violation of any applicable law, rule, or regulation of any governmental agency or regulatory organization governing your professional, financial, or business activities. Confidentiality. All information concerning the client's transactions and his or her accounts must be considered confidential and must not be disclosed except with the client's permission for supervisory purposes or by order of the proper authority. Client information. You must maintain the confidentiality of identities and the personal and financial circumstances of your clients. You must refrain from discussing this information with anyone outside your dealer. It must also ensure that the dealer's client lists and any other confidential records are not left out where they can be taken or observed by visitors to the office. Use of confidential information. Information regarding clients' personal and financial circumstances and trading activity must be kept confidential and may not be used in any way to affect trades in personal and or proprietary accounts or in the accounts of other clients. Case study. Keeping Carl's confidence, a lesson in proper conduct. Whoa. What does that say? It's a long. Hey, what's going on? Salvina? Welcome alive. Thanks for tuning in. Deep within the doing a little mutual fund studying for finance banking on this is a case study part, and we are on what is that? Almost the end of 18-8. So very, very last chapter of Canadian Securities Inc. Investment funds course. Mutual funds. It's to be licensed to sell mutual funds in a bank. So once you get it, you can apply to work in a bank. And then it's in where I'm from, West Coast, Canada. And it enables you to sell mutual funds, which I already invested in mutual funds on my own, and I have prior banking experience, 5.5 years across 3 banks, and then I got into insurance, and now I'm like, I like banking more. Insurance is a little bit not for me. I'd rather get into banking. Name's Alex, but yeah, Salvina, if you like these kinds of live study with me and all that, hit subscribe. We go live daily for study with me, workouts, day in the life, meditations, etc. For the first time, I am seeing any North American with while studying. Oh, that's cool. That's so cool. Right on. Where are you from? Very cool. I'm so confused. Oh, there. Oh, you're from Vietnam. What? No, not at all. Not at all. Appreciate it. Vietnam, that's so cool. Very cool. Right on. All right, we got a few more minutes. I'll finish this page and then I gotta get ready and I'll show you guys my fit for the day. Keeping Carl's confidence a lesser in proper conduct. Sonia, a mutual fund representative at a major Canadian investment firm, has just concluded a meeting with her client Carl. It was her last meeting of the day. It was a difficult one. She had met with Carl to discuss a major life change, where he advised Sonia that he was getting divorced. It was a very emotional meeting and required a number of important updates to Carl's investment needs and objectives, investment strategy, and a thorough analysis of the impact of the changes to his cash flow and tax situations. After the meeting and a long day, Sonia leaves the office looking forward to dinner with her husband, Phil, at a local restaurant. Over dinner, a tired Sonia relaxes with her husband and begins to discuss her day with Phil. Trusting her husband's opinion, she talks about the meeting with Carl, but is careful not to use the client's name. However, as she becomes more comfortable, she relays a great deal of the details of Carl's situation, even letting the client's name slip a few times. Phil provides his helpful insights of which Sonia is very appreciative. The following day, Sonia gets a call from Carl. He is very upset and complains to Sonia that a friend of his wife's was sitting a few tables over from Sonia and Phil at the restaurant. They overheard. Sonia gets a call from Carl. Oh yeah, of his wife's was sitting a few tables over from Sonia and Phil at the restaurant. They overheard Sonia's conversation and surmised from the details that they were discussing Carl and his wife's situation. They also learned about Carl's financial situation and conveyed all of this to his wife. Carl tells Sonia that his trust has been violated and that he can no longer rely on her discretion to maintain his privacy. He informs her that he is terminating his relationship with her and her firm and lodging a complaint with her employer. Ouch. So yeah, never discuss client info with anyone. Client confidential client confidentiality is super, super, super important. Yeah. What is that? Adele? Uh Adela Adel Adelraynon? Welcome, welcome. Hey, happy birthday, Austin. Right on. Hey, let's fit with Shivani. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right, we're just finishing. I think we might leave it there. 18-9. Let's leave it there. What are we in? 18 dash. We're on 18-9. Beautiful. Nice. Halfway through the last chapter, Mindset Fam. And then we're going to be booking our exams soon, like I said. We're going to leave it there. Boom. Gonna log out. Oop. Where's that? Oop, oop. Log out, log out. Boom. All right. Oh, very nice. Very nice indeed. There we go. Excelente. All right, we're gonna leave it there, Mindset Fam. Basically, are you preparing for an entrance exam? No, not an entrance exam. No, it's basically a licensing exam. So once I get this course passed, then it comes down to, then you can actually get your provincial license where I'm from to be able to sell mutual funds for a bank. And then for long term, I want to get certified financial planner designation. It's a really good one. Hey, Bobby Curley, welcome. But yeah, I got to go. I got 5 more minutes before I got to hit the road. So I'm going to let you guys go. But I will be doing a lunch with me later. So stay tuned for that. When I always take lunch for an hour and then I come home and I eat my lunch. So stay tuned for that. Appreciate you being here. And thank you for the likes and the subs. Peace, Mindset Fam. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be at peace. I'll see you guys later. Ciao.